speaking on. So this is the 4th edition of Coffee Pe Charcha. So I'll just briefly, my job is, I'm Ajit Moopen, I'm one of the charter members of TiE, Kerala, and my duty is to just briefly introduce the speaker and also tell you briefly about this program. This is a new format which we have started this year, and this is the 4th in the series. So it is a more of an interactive nature. This program. We in TiE, one of our primary motives is to drive entrepreneurship, and one of the best media we do is by sharing success stories of successful entrepreneurs, and in different domains. So this Coffee Pe Charcha allows for a more informal interaction, and it's more interactive in nature by Q&A and all, and it's a closer format and with a smaller group of people, so more intimate. So this is the idea behind it. And now I move on to introduce the you want to say something more? Today's speaker is Mr. Deepak Lachmandas Aswani, and his entire family is here. He is an MBA by qualification, and he heads the Lachmandas Group. This family, the family business covers FMCG and textile retailing and distribution. They represent many of the leading principal companies, ITC, Raymond, Bombay Dye, and they have their own ventures, which is Priceless, the factory outlet, and My Kingdom, the family lifestyle store. I would say Mr. Deepak is of the Lachmandas Group. He's the retail king of Kerala, and they cover multiple products as well. He is being given many recognitions and awards, like Best Showroom of Bombay Dye, Best Showroom of Raymond, Best Showroom Park Avenue, Gold Dealer ITC, Best Service Partner Amway, Award from Cochin University of Science and Technology, Distinguished Speaker at various management fora. He has held various positions in multiple forums. For example, former chairman of Kerala Chamber of Commerce and Industry, chairman of Cigarette and Tobacco Dealers Association Kerala, former president, Shops and Office Holders Association, GCDA Commercial Complex, member of Kerala Management Association, member Retail Association of India, member Kerala Government Finance Ministry Taxes Redress Committee, Kerala Government Minimum Wages Advisory Board, Kerala Financial Corporation Advisory Board, etc. And we have with us the rest of the family here. Mrs. Jyoti Aswani, she holds, she is heading the textile division, and she is the managing partner of Aswani Lachmandas Group Textile and Lifestyle Division, and the textile retailing and distribution with partnership with several leading players, ITC, Raymond, Amway, Color Plus, and Bombay Dye. Also the Priceless factory outlet and My Kingdom, the family lifestyle store. Her key position held by Mrs. Jyoti Aswani, former chairperson, Kerala Chamber of Commerce and Industry Women's Forum, convener TiE Kerala Sikh Women Entrepreneurs, president Federation of Indian Women Entrepreneurs, Cochin chapter, co-opted member KMA subcommittee, MSME, and member KMA president Inner Wheel Club. Also CC Toastmasters International Cochin. That's Jyoti Aswani. And then we have sons Mr. Prakash Aswani, Mrs. Sushil Aswani, and also Mrs. Neha Sushil Aswani. I'm told she's the financial pillar of the organization. Yeah. So thank you, and over to you, Steve.
I've got a mic. Or give me. This is for the television. I'd like to first of all thank Ty for giving us, this family, the opportunity to actually present ourselves formally before you. Although, I mean, Ajit spoke so much about what all we do, and how we reached there is all because of the blessings of the Almighty and the sheer hard work and probably the nomadic instincts that my father had.
Mic is on.
It's on.
So to bring it closer.
Mic. So, you know, our story is one in which probably a book can be written, and it goes back to those days of the what I would say is the cultural base of India, that is Mohenjo-daro. Mohenjo-daro was a place where the Sindhis are all settled in the other side of the then India, that is the Pakistan side. And partition brought about a rude shock to the Hindu families that were settled out there. Overnight, we were all virtually chased out of our homes. There was a case where my mother had to travel separately, my father came in separately. They were based in Quetta. And Quetta, because the Defence Services Staff College was in Quetta. So my father used to be one of the chandlers, that is, they used to supply goods to the army. Yeah, so I was talking about the Defence Services Staff College, which actually was the starting point for us to get into India. So my dad had this opportunity of actually coming in with the army into the Staff College, which was then based at Dehradun, and the areas there was Jabalpur and Mao and all those places. Whereas my mother had to literally come, you know, from like in those Bunyad stories that you would have seen on television, or even the Gadar story, where they came by train, and on those trains at least 10 times the capacity of passengers used to fill in there. And not to be outdone, they were being attacked for whatever possessions they had. First of all, they couldn't carry anything. Whatever little bit of gold and a little bit of money they had to carry it as food. For example, if they had the earrings or ear chains or something, they would be put into things like pakodas and fried and brought across that way. My elder brother was just 2 years old at that time. He was born in 1945, and my elder sister, she was born on September 1st, 1947. Literally, she was a babe in the arms of my mother. And on the railway station, my brother got lost. I can imagine the panic out there with my mother alone without the father there. Somehow they all left Karachi, came by ship, landed up into the refugee camps that were settled in Kalyan, and then later on they were being pushed around to various parts of the country wherever they could find like-minded people, or more Sindhi families or Gujarati families, people who are all refugees here and there. Whatever was built or whatever was made in Pakistan was totally lost. We came in as absolutely refugees with absolutely nothing. Fortunately for us, the army took good care of my father. He was given an opportunity to actually come and settle down in Wellington, where they planned the next staff college. They found that one staff college was not enough for India. So coming over to Wellington, they found that the climatic conditions were almost akin to those of Quetta. I mean, it was nice and cold and it's virtually adapted. And then dealing with the army, you could talk your own language. Hindi was the basic language in the army. So even though Tamil was the basic language in Tamil Nadu, they could get away with Hindi inside the army campus till such time that they could get settled. This went on for some time till the army actually took over procuring their products by themselves when CDS came in, the canteen, department stores and all that. So then again, Dad was left high and dry. But with the goodwill that he developed with the suppliers and the vendors who were supplying to the army, ITC gave him a stockist point of all the places. The closest place to Ooty at that time, which was vacant, was Chundel. That is in Wayanad. Wayanad in 1955, I remember, my dad put me into school, and in 10 minutes after putting me into school, he left for Chundel. And he virtually lived off a van. Those days, a van was virtually a lorry which was, you had a big nose and it was all covered. So it was like a mini caravan. So the goods and the passenger would stay inside the van. And if you go back to Jurassic Park days, the mosquitoes in Wayanad were also that size. So we had to pick off stocks from Calicut and supply into the jungles of Wayanad, into Mananthavadi, into Kalpetta and all that thing. Many people who don't know about those places, we knew about it in those days in the 50s. So the family itself was based out of Ooty. Two of us, we were four of us actually, two of us were lucky to continue with English medium schools out there. And the elder two, because we didn't have any finances, they went to the municipal Tamil schools there. And it's with great pride I would tell you right now that my brother was a virtual Tamil Pandit. Today he talks Tamil to my sister. They write, read, he's written books, and he has done an interview with the great MGR also on All India Radio. So that was the thing. But the key thing was, the person, we talk about ladies in distress, and it was our mother who actually brought us up, gave us all the good values that we had. And I think that has actually stood by us right through. And I think Jyoti is doing a great job of it with the next generation. And I'm sure Neha is going to do even better with hers.
Since especially she's controlling finance.
Yeah, yes. She's got the money also. Those days we didn't have the money. And just for the sake of the thing, my dad used to send those days about 400 rupees to my mother. Out of those 400 rupees, 200 and odd rupees used to go for the fees from the younger two. That is me and my younger sister. And with the rest of the 200 rupees, they had to manage the entire house inclusive of rent, provisions, and anything, the hospital expenses, so on and so forth. Since my dad was doing a great job of doing his distribution in Wayanad, those days, the company that we were dealing, that is ITC, used to be called Imperial Tobacco Company. It was run by the British. So the British used to travel from Bangalore, where there was a factory, and if they had to come to the capital of Kerala, they had to come through Wayanad those days. So if you wanted to come to Trivandrum, you had to come through that Bandipur and that area and land up there. So one night around 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, actually pick up other extracurricular activities. But the main extracurricular activity happened to be in the shop, where we used to count coins, we used to lift goods. I still remember an occasion where when we came to Ernakulam and the headload workers refused to allow us to unload a lorry. They said, you cannot use your employees to unload a lorry, only the owner can do that. This is something like what happened to Kochosif sir recently, but I'm talking about in the 1975 period. Then I single-handedly offloaded a truck myself.
At least they allowed it.
They had to. So what we were taught by my dad, actually, I'll come to those things. So it was ITC basically that brought us to Trivandrum, and then after Trivandrum, seeing the way we worked, my dad just had an investment of 25,000 rupees, and that too by pawning the whatever jewelry that was carried by in the pakodas that we brought from Pakistan. He had to take in about 3-4 partners, and then later on when we got Ernakulam, they said you have to now separate. You cannot have 2 points as a single distributor. So we got Ernakulam in the 1964 period, and the entire family actually joined back together from Ooty, from Trivandrum and all that in 1969. My elder sister is an MSc from St. Teresa's College. She did a MSc Home Science. My younger sister, she's no more. She was a doctor. My elder brother, of course, he did his MCom. He went to Osmania University. And I had this opportunity of going for I was the first batch out of Cochin University full-time MBA. 2 good things happened to me. One was I was the first batch out of Loyola School in Trivandrum and the first batch out of Cochin University MBA. The biggest advantage when you get as a first batch student is that after that, you know, every student who is passing out from there knows you very well. Whether I deserve it or not, yeah, you were the first batch. So that first carried a lot of weight. So my networking really started off from there. Even if I didn't know someone, the student anybody would come to me, you were the first batch out there. And I was also the cricket captain, so that made me even more popular that way. In 1970, what happened was, as the government started getting a little more Indianized, this Imperial Tobacco was striking a sort of a bad note, and so then ITC had to change its name to, Imperial Tobacco to India Tobacco Company. And that was the time when Golden Tobacco Company, which came in as a very fierce competitor, started talking about Be Indian, Buy Indian, and so on and so forth. And so ITC was forced to call themselves as India Tobacco Company. And this Golden Tobacco Company was a typical company run by the Dalmias, and they spared no corners trying to undercut ITC at whatever cost they could. They would sell products without excise duty and so on and so forth, and we just couldn't match them for any price. And for some time, this brand called Panama suddenly took over as one of the leading brands in cigarettes. It took us about 2 to 3 years to actually get back our market position. From that 99% market share that we had, we came down to 40% and then came back to about 90% a few years later. But that also taught us a lesson, saying that let's not depend only on cigarettes. Cigarettes at one point of time, you know, smoking a cigarette used to be a sort of a classy thing. Perfumes were made with the tobacco flavor. If you see a perfume, it's called tobacco. People wanted that, or a cigar for that matter. Women would ask people to come and smoke cigars in front of them and blow the smoke onto their clothes. No, really speaking, and what used to happen was that would actually create a sort of a sensation in the women. So this is when we thought we should not concentrate only on tobacco, and tobacco also slowly and steadily people started talking against it. Our biggest competitor those days used to be BDs, and BDs used to sell at the ratio of 20 BDs to 1 cigarette at that time. So the biggest company in BDs used to be the Kerala Dinesh BD and the Kaja BD company. It was then, you know, when my brother first came into business, and when we came into Kerala first, I don't mean to be rude about it, but the clothing sense at that particular stage used to be where the males would hardly wear a shirt. It used to be a single dhoti and probably a towel over the shoulders. The children used to wear only shorts, with the strapped shorts. The girls used to wear pavada blouse, and the women also used to go for a dhoti and a blouse. And if they were going out of the house or something like that, again that cloth would come over to cover as a, I mean it used to be the, what do you call that?
Angavastra.
Not even angastra, what do you call the towel?
Torthu.
Torthu, yeah. The torthu used to be the cover. And we could not get a turkey towel in Kerala.
Which year was this?
I am talking about the 70s. So, going searching around for turkey towel, because you know in the cold of Ooty and Wellington, we needed those turkey towels to give us that warmth when you took a bath. So, it was then that my brother realized that a good retail shop would do well. Because that time textile retailing also was dominated mostly by the Reddyas. So it was Ratna Mahal in Alway, the Seematis, and Parthas in a smaller way, not as big as what they were. They came up in the later 70s as bigger shops, and even Jayalakshmi used to operate out of a shop with a small mat in probably a 100 square feet shop. And at that particular time, retailing, when we talked about modern retailing did not start after the 90s. It was there in the 70s itself. And some of the leading brands of the 70s, which is very personal to us, what you're wearing right now also, the shoes, for example. Bata was the first organized retail channel which had something like 1,000 outlets across the country. And in textiles, it was DCM with 600 outlets. Yeah, but DCM was even bigger because DCM used to make goods for the army. We used to make furnishing material, towels. Yeah, Delhi cloth mills. And professionally, they were one big company. Practically every person who wanted to do an MBA would become a sales officer in the Sri Ram group. That was the name of the group at that time. So you didn't have to go to do IIM or anything like that. There were no MBA colleges. If you get a job as a sales officer in DCM, you are as good as an MBA. And they were also the first company to come out with computers as DCM data products. I was fortunate enough because we had this agency in Ernakulam. I did my first summer project at DCM in Delhi. With textiles and finding a little bit of success in textiles, we found the next major player in South India was Bombay Dyeing. So then we took up the dealership for Bombay Dyeing. We tried for the wholesale business also, but we couldn't get it at that stage. And then the next wholesale business that we could lay our hands was when Dhirubhai ji actually came back from Aden and he started Vimal. So at that particular stage, he was desperately looking out for dealers, and his love for Sindhis and people who were tough, hardworking businessmen, he would supply goods, without even taking any money from them. So our first wholesale business was actually Vimal. We called it Superb Textiles, and we were also offered the retail business, which we handed over to Mr. Surya Narayan, and we called the shop as Surya, following Mr. Surya Narayan's name actually. We have very fond memories of Dhirubhai ji. He actually visited our house, and as a person, what we learned from him, he was probably the richest guy in India at that time. But then, when it comes to behavior, if a small child came and talked to him, he would come down to that age. If a very senior person came and talked to him, he would talk to him at that level. But at no stage would he disappoint anybody in business. He would always say, even if I lose something today, you are going to be my friend forever. And the way he got along with people, the way he used to move the machinery in the government, I think it was amazing. His own sons went the tough way to learn business. I remember in 1979, when we were doing Vimal, he sent Mr. Anil Ambani to Cochin. They had just introduced worsted suiting, and he wanted him to carry samples just like any salesman would do. In a suitcase, he had to carry worsted suiting samples. I accompanied him with to Parthas. He had to show the samples and procure orders And even if Partha said, I don't want anything, he had to stay there and beg for orders. Dhirubhai ji also told us how he started selling Terlin once upon a time. Terlin was a product which he brought in from Aden. It was actually a nylon product. And nylon for the Indian conditions was virtually non-usable. So what he used to do was, he would supply the product to a shop, say, don't pay me anything. Then he would go around to colleges and schools and other places and pay students to go and buy that material back. So all of a sudden what would happen is, on the shop floor, there would be a demand for Terlin. Suddenly you find the whole world wearing Terlin and these stretch trousers. We used to call them, no, these nylon trousers. They were called stretch trousers actually. So you could make bell bottoms out of them. And those days those bell bottoms would be between 30 to 40 inches wide. So if you see the old Rajesh Khanna movies, you'd see them. But the problem with Vimal is they didn't have a policy. Dealers were allowed to sell their product anywhere in the country. It finally came to a situation where, the Hyderabad guy was selling products into Kerala, we were selling into Hyderabad, and finally nobody was paying us because the supply outweighed demand totally. As long as Vimal sold its stuff from the mill, they didn't care about where the product went to. So most of it ultimately went into ready-made garments, into this shiny nylons and frocks and things like that, And that was one of the reasons why Vimal actually flopped, because there was no policy actually. Jayalakshmi came into MG Road in the year 1985. We found that as an opportunity, saying that if there is a sari shop, and all of a sudden we found the women in Kerala, they started going in for silk in a big way. So we said, okay, yeah, for a wedding, if they're going to buy silk, then obviously there should be somebody wearing suits also. With a predominant Christian population in Cochin, the best brand to plumb for that time was Raymond's. So we just got Raymond's just next to Jayalakshmi. It was a very scary story because even Raymond's didn't want to sell into Kerala because they thought, who's going to wear trousers when you people are wearing dhotis, air-conditioned dhotis? But then the first year that we got into Raymond's, our sale was around 50 lakhs in that year. But 5 years later, we went up 5 times. And after that, we've had 3 expansions of the MG Road shop. And then bolstered by the success of Raymond's there, we were offered shops anywhere in the state actually. But then we said, we were just me, my father and my brother. So brother was concentrating on Bombay dyeing and father and I were concentrating on the cigarettes and Raymond's. So we decided we'll stay put in Ernakulam, and then slowly we expanded. We had the next showroom that we started was the Marine Drive shop in 1997. Then we went into Priceless. We got Amway before that because direct selling also came in as a different form of marketing, and we wanted to learn what direct selling was actually. Selling to a customer by showing him a product and then selling it that way, and people going and convincing people to buy a particular product at their homes and doing away with shops in between. That was something which we learned from Amway. So some of the key learnings that we learned was, what we learned from ITC was how to distribute the products right across every single convenience outlet. If you wanted a cigarette, you had to go to the nearest outlet and ask for a cigarette. It has to be available. So that's where the word convenience outlet was coined. And then we also learned that the person who is going to buy a cigarette, he does not stop there. He buys banana, he would ask for a lime juice, he would buy a matchbox obviously, or if he didn't get a matchbox, he would get a piece of paper, light the cigarette there. He might buy a toffee also. In Madurai, there was a combination that if you buy Wills, you would also buy a Halls. So that was a deadly combination in those days. So it is from there that the international chains of this 7/11 and 24/7 have come, and that is where the current chairman of ITC, Mr. Deveshwar, has picked up the thing, saying that when we are doing over 1 million outlets in the country, we ourselves, I think we are doing something like about 25,000 outlets. And when we are doing 25,000 outlets, and if we can sell even 1 unit of a product every day to that outlet, you can sell 25,000 products straight away. The biggest problem that we found in the cigarette business, apart from the fact that the environmental issues were there coming in, was that the government would constantly tax cigarettes, because that was their biggest revenue earner in the form of excise duty. The excise duty would take up the prices, the cost of the product also would go up, and the demand also would go up also, because people would convert from that 20:1 BD scenario to slowly making it into a 5:1 ratio. So cigarette sales every year would go up at the rate of something like 10 to 15 years year on year. So what was the problem then we faced? Investment became a huge problem. And for cigarettes, the margins were something that less than 1.45% is what we were getting, because the turnaround is amazingly high. You need to invest only for 12 days in that business. You turn around your stock 30 times in a year, your gross margin straight away becomes something like 36 to 40%. But investment was a key problem. So I still remember when I joined business, there were something like 16 distributors across Kerala. Today there are 75 distributors. And added to that, now the chairman has decided that he is going to make ITC a 1 lakh crore sales turnover company, and every product that a convenience outlet which would sell is going to be an ITC product made in India. So much before Modi ji announced this Made in India thing, Mr. Deveshwar had already had it in his mind. And most of the products that you see on this table right now are all made by ITC, and the quality is as good internationally than anybody else. Today we are proud that things like Ashirwad Atta is available in the US. Biscuits like Sunfeast, the Dark Fantasies, the Mom's Magic and the Delicious biscuits, they're just hitting the roof. Suddenly we discovered when we... Yeah, I'll come back to that. That is something which they'll be talking about. But we are coming back very strongly. In the Maggi impact, what happened was, see, when something bad happens to a generic product, it hits the entire product by itself. But the first product to be hit is the one which has been actually murdered, that is Maggi. But then there is this opportunity that you can get Maggi's business to yourself. So that is what we are trying now. So that gives us an opportunity to actually increase our noodle sale by at least 5 times straight away. And this is precisely what we are doing right now. We ensured that our quality was good. All the labs across the country have certified that Yippee is probably the only product which is untampered and is safe to eat. And it has got a unique concept about it. If you see the shape of the cake of Maggi, it's a square. The Yippee is a round. You don't have to break it. The fact that you don't break a Yippee cake gives you long strands of noodles is what children love to eat. The longer the strand of a noodle, the more they love to slurp it up. So that's what made Yippee come up in no time. Those aspects will be handled by Prakash and Sushil. I had learned a lot of stuff from my father, which I thought I would share with some of the younger entrepreneurs or even the older entrepreneurs. But I think I did a mistake. I did not introduce some of the participants today. What we thought was at the question and answer session, we'll ask them to introduce at that stage. But I just got a note. I think we can do that quickly.
Yeah, I think the story has just started, Deepak. And, I didn't know that you are a refugee turned successful businessman. So it's very interesting. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Kumar. I am currently the Vice President of TIE Kerala. I was working for A.V. Thomas Group and decided to take advice from my friends in the TIE, especially our past president, Johnny Paul from Popular, who is here. He has been telling me, Kumar, you give up all this company perquisites and company benefits and become an entrepreneur. In fact, I was once in Coimbatore. Johnny told me buy some, what did you say, Johnny? Some entrepreneurship Dhairyam from one of the shops in Coimbatore. So I have started a small way as a CEO coach, as a corporate advisor. So we also have our four, apart from Ajit Mopan, four TIE charter members. We have Naushad from Calicut, Kurian from Dhanam, and Johnny from Cochin, and Shivadas Menon, and both of them are past presidents of TIE Canada. So we'll quickly go around and have an introduction.
Hi, my name is Shweta. I'm actually an admirer of a lot of people in this room. And my background is I've studied in media, but I've worked mostly in human resource management. It's a very convoluted idea. I'm very happy to be here. There's nothing more to say about myself.
Anthony Joseph. I'm running a management consultancy firm. Thank you.
I'm KP Abraham. I was with the Federal Bank for 35 years. And after retiring from Federal Bank, I was with the NBFC for 3 years. And now I'm with the consultancy group.
Yeah, I'm Rojan Matthew. I was with Asian Paints for 15 years and then started off my own around that 2 years back. Probably so we can, much can be discussed over the meeting. Thank you.
I am Joby Anthony. I represent a brand called Thermo King in Kerala. And also I make transport refrigeration solutions.
Good evening. I'm Shaji M. Manjuran. Basically, I'm from Kottayam. Now I'm staying in Ernakulam for the last 35 years. I am into printing and packaging industry. For example, we supply these BOPP films, polyester films, So all this food part manufactured in Kerala, I supply. Also into printing fields, all offset printing and the Suryadharan was also looking. Thank you.
My name is J.K. Nayak. I work for Mr. Deepak Ashwani as a general manager. Thank you.
Good evening. I am Joy Seaman, retired Joint Labour Commissioner. Now I am working with the Nishmindas Group as General Manager HR. Thanks.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Sudakshana Thampi. We have an organization called Y2S Yoga. We aim at spreading yoga, meditation, and service, community service. And through that, we hope to make a positive change. Thank you.
Good evening. Myself Ajit. First of all, apologies for being late. I had some car trouble on the way. I was, for a good part of my profession, I was abroad. I came back and I'm right now planning to start something using the internet in the retail field. Thank you.
Sudas Menon, past president, TIE Kerala.
I'm Johnny Paul, person he just mentioned. Basically, I sell cars, and I was a past president of TIE.
Kurian Abraham, charter member, TIE Kerala, and from Dhanam.
I'm Samuel Matthew. I'm not part of the TIE, but I've been invited by Deepak Ashwani to be here for today's talk. In fact, I'm very closely connected with Deepak Ashwani. When I joined KCC as a secretary, John Paul was he was the chairman at that time. Thereafter, we have been directing various programs and events as well as various initiatives with the central and state governments under the leadership, under the guidance of Deepak Ashwani. What I admire on him is that the ability to handle the situations when faced with a difficult situation, how to handle situations in a cool and efficient manner, and giving a lot of options from which, and we'll be able to select at least one of the options which can be effectively utilized. And he is also a co-chairman of the FICCI Kerala State Council, leading the State Council in very dynamic manner. Thank you.
Actually, I'll supplement that. She is the oldest living employee of our group. If she is senior to me, she was the secretary to my dad, and now she's on to the third generation, going on to the fourth.
Myself Elizabeth John. I was Deepa Kashwani from Amway last 14 years, and recently joined with Lakshman Das Trading Company. And recently I did an MBA from Cochin University. I'm a big admirer of her. It's good.
Good evening. My name is Nirmala. I'm actually a hospitality professional for the past 25 years. I was working with Taj for 18 years, and then I was general manager of Flora and Vantala senior general manager, and now I'm a startup. So I just started my company called Infinity Hospitality Services, where the objectives are tourism, consultancy, and training. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. George Joseph Timplagat. This is a book I've published recently, so I've kind of got into the publishing end of things. I have my medicine from Manipal, and then I went to the US and did my MBA in international business in the US, and was very active with the Thai organization in the US. After 25 years there, I've decided to return to India, and my primary focus today is the railway, Indian Railway toilet, and it is the case that I presented before the High Court that got the Indian Railways to allocate 4,000 crores towards the green toilet, a very urgently needed transformation. And, it is an opportunity for entrepreneurs because there's tens of thousands of crores. If I might take 1 second in connection with that, I had the opportunity to meet our dear late President Abdul Kalam one day, and he told me that he heard about the case I filed, and it was he who got the railway board to allocate the 4,000 crores. So at least in his honor, we need to make sure this 1 lakh people don't die every year, and 10 lakh people don't get sick every year. And the current Prime Minister is so focused on the cleanliness issue, and I think ITC must come forward. You have a great chairman. I have had the opportunity to meet him. Wonderful work in the environmental issues he's doing. I think it's an unknown fact to many Indians. I met him one day, and the talk he gave on environmental issues that you deal with.
ITC is the #1 green company.
It's phenomenal. Energy positive and all that. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon to all. I'm Pinko Francis. I'm coming from Tamil Business Magazine. Thank you.
Myself, Anil Kumar. I am coming from with a corporate finance experience. Now working with the 2 startups on technologies and another one e-commerce.
Hi everyone, I am Nitya. It's the first time I'm coming for a Thai conference. I got the invite from our campus officer Bhupesh. I'm the first batch of executive PGP from IIM Kozhikode, and as Mr. Deepak said, hopefully we also get the privileges of being first batch. And I'm also working at the TCS as a business analyst for FMCG company, Procter & Gamble.
Good evening everyone. I'm Dr. Devika Menon, holding a PhD in tourism. I've been in the tourism industry for the last 27 years. I've been in the managerial level for airlines like Malaysia Airlines and Sri Lankan Airlines for Kerala. Now I run my own travel agency, Princey World Travels, as director. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Naushad, Thai chat member from VKC Group of Companies.
Can I add something to Naushad's thing? He can't get away with that. Probably when you talk of footwear, when the whole world, is looking at brands like Nike, Adidas, this, that, and trying to bring them from abroad here, his brand is being carried in bags to other countries. Consumers take them there because they are probably some of the best footwear that can be made in the world, I think, today. A big hand to him, please. Finished? Might as well introduce.
Hi, I'm Neha Aswani, and as I was introduced later, I'm his daughter-in-law.
As far as my background is concerned, I come from a very purely financial background. I graduated in economics and then did my MBA Finance from Symbiosis, post which I worked for an investment bank for a couple of years before joining the business here. Yeah, thank you.
Good evening, I'm Sushil Aswani. I'm the younger son of Mr. Deepak and Jyoti Aswani, and fortunate to be part of this group. I've done my marketing and then worked for a couple of years with GlaxoSmithKline before coming and joining the business. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Prakash Aswani, the elder son of Mr. Deepak and Jyoti. And I did my MBA in marketing and operations. And after that, I worked with ITC for a couple of years before joining back the business in the year 2007.
He forgot to mention that he is an engineer also. And yeah, you finished?
I think I have already been introduced by Mr. Ajit, and it will be too boring to repeat it.
Yeah.